Hey, it's Mike Brennan, and yes, we're back. We've had sort of a summer schedule where we've been doing every other week, but we're back with some of our usual suspects, including Gary Erickson from Executive Search Partners. Had Gary on years now. And so we're going to be looking at a few things here, what's going on out there in the real world. And one of them is, Gary, how is the overall job market right now?
I think there's a technical term for the job market, and I mentioned it before because this has been going on since probably February, maybe middle of January. The job market sucks. It's been slow. The uncertainty of the tariffs has created a tremendous amount of confusion and disruption. And even the head of Ford said they were going to lose $2 billion in because of the tariffs. Well, that's going to be passed on in eventually into higher car prices, and people are going to buy less, which means fewer jobs. It just the CFOs are being very cautious about adding anybody till all this settles down and they can see the real impact.
Yeah,
One,
not to change the subject, but we just had the jobs report come out last week,
yep,
and it was revised, and certain people didn't really much care for it. But what, like 73,000 people have been hired over the last 3 months, and that gets back to no one knows what's going on. They don't know whether they should hire anybody, right?
right. One of the statistics from the jobs report, this listed in the Wall Street Journal, is that the average time between when somebody is out of a job for whatever reason, they take early retirement, they're laid off, they have to move somewhere, whatever the reason is, the average time is getting longer and longer, and it's now up to 10 weeks. That's when you're talking about a senior executive job, 10 weeks would be very, very fast. We're talking about probably going from 4 months to 5 months to find a new executive level job, probably to 6 to 9 months, and maybe even longer.
All right. So if you are one of those senior IT folks looking for the next position, well, what can you do to maximize your chances of finding your next job?
Well, we'd use the same advice for just about anybody looking for a job, but I'll be specific to the senior IT people. First, recognize that the market's very slow. Most people find their jobs via networking, so you need to network like heck. You've got to contact your friends, get referrals, contact those referrals, contact them again very nicely and very succinctly, just telling them you're out there. Go to networking events, like if you're in the IT world, the Detroit Society of Information Management or the Michigan Council of Women in Technology are two great places to meet other people in your industry and get support and advice on your networking. You got to stay in touch with the network too. You can't just reach out to somebody one time and say, "Hey, I'm looking for a job." Um, they'll forget about you, not on purpose, just because everybody's busy. And if I told you, Mike, that I was looking for a job a month ago, and a perfect job you found for me, you might not remember me off the top of your head. So if I send you an email every 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to sort of, oh yeah, Gary's still out there looking for a position. In case something comes up, you can remember me at that point in time. Um, some things that are very hard for people to understand is that when people are looking for somebody for a job, whether you get the job by a networking or a recruiter or an online job posting, people are looking for people who basically have done that job before. So if for example, if you want to be a CIO in the medical industry and you come out of the automotive industry, you don't have the qualifications to take on a CIO position because you don't understand the medical industry. And people are looking for the CFO, the CIOs, excuse me, the presidents of companies are looking for people in the IT position that can help them improve their company. And they're not willing to work or take a risk on somebody who doesn't understand their industry. When you apply for a job that you are a fit for, customize your resume. We're recommending that at the top of the resume, you include what we call the in resume cover letter, which is a short blurb about why you're a fit for that particular position. So you got to be very specific about the jobs you're applying for, and your resume's got to look like you're a fit.
Okay. How does AI, artificial intelligence, play into all this?
Well, in probably almost every job these days, you can enhance your ability to do the job by using IT tools. Now, that's not, I said not almost every job, a fair number of thinking kind of jobs where you do writing or market development or coding of programs. You can use artificial intelligence tools to help you do it faster, quicker, and better. If you're looking for a senior IT position, one of the key requirements that's got to be on your resume is what do you know about AI? So you walk into an interview, and one of the questions that let's say the president of the company or the CIO is going to ask you, so well, tell me about what you know about AI. Tell me how you've applied it, and tell me what results you've achieved. And if you can't answer that question, well, I've never used AI, or you have just sort of like a very basic, not full understanding of AI, you're taking the courses you're taking is what, if you don't know it, as a CIO or a senior IT person, you should be taking the same courses. You should be experimenting with the same stuff. And you should be thinking about and maybe leading the implementation of AI in different areas within your company. If that doesn't show on your resume, you're probably not going to get an interview. I was reading about using AI to automate tasks, and I got on my task list to work out this week how I can use AI to automate a lot of the tasks that we have when we're doing a search. We just picked up a search for a chief financial officer for an small automotive supplier in Southeast Michigan. My goal would be define the job better, post the job, research for candidates, screen the candidates initially. All right. When I got the right ones, have them schedule an interview with me, all through AI. Have that all run in the background. Save me a lot of work.
Well, let's use that as a starting point. So you got this job. That we won't name the name of the company or anything, but let's talk about what would really catch your attention if someone sent you a resume with these particular aspects or qualities.
Well, every job you basically think about who the person's reporting to and the requirements of the company, and you create a must-have list. So this is a chief financial officer position. Well, they've got to have chief financial officer experience, accounting and finance and gap reporting and financial and especially financial analysis and helping guide the company moving forward. For example, what impact are tariffs going to have on my company? And what should that do to my capital investment plans, et cetera? That's what a good CFO can help a company do. Then they also have to have experience in this case in the automotive industry. And there's a couple other requirements. They need international experience. They need experience with Mexico and Brazil and Europe. So all those things become part of the screening requirements that when we go look for candidates, we will look for people that have the match that checklist of requirements before we can talk to them.
So, how would you classify? Is this sort of a mid-level company, 500 to 1,000 people, more or less?
Yeah, it's relatively small, about 500 million in sales.
So then somebody that would working for an even smaller company who may have had developed some of these skills would be the person that might want to apply for this then, right?
Yeah, either that or somebody. Well, it'd be a broader group than that. We'd look somebody who's smaller could apply for it. Somebody who's in that size, and even people who have worked for larger companies. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's been the CFO of a General Motors or a large tier one auto supplier. They're too big, and they're probably not as much hands on as this smaller company position would require.
All right. And so if someone wants to send you that resume, how do they do that, Gary?
G Erickson, GERICKSON, at execsearchpartners.com.
And of course, they can go to your website and see the 12 steps for a good resume, not for Alcoholics Anonymous, but for a good resume, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny how I copied that 12 steps for a successful job search. It was 7 steps before, but we kept adding critical steps, including recently we've added some AI prompts that will help you improve both your your job search, your job preparation, your resume finding, and job finding using AI to search the web for positions that might match your background.
All right, sounds great. Well, thanks for being on the show today, Gary.